I'm Rachel.
And I'm Stacey.
We're Decoding Couples, two licensed marriage and family therapists turned Instagram relationship experts. We've helped thousands of folks navigate communication issues, and we're here today to do the same for you.
We are going to share with you our favorite communication tips and tools because adult relationships are hard. And if your school was anything like ours, they did not teach you this stuff. Because if they did, our 20s probably would have been a lot different.
Really different.
The 3 communication tips that we're sharing with you today are tip number 1, replace but with and. Tip number 2, use I statements instead of you statements. And tip number 3, eliminate universal statements.
Let's break these down one by one. Tip number 1, replace but with and. This swap allows 2 opposite things to be true at the same time. It also increases empathy and understanding between partners.
So an example of this is, I like you, but I'm not ready to meet your parents yet. When we have but in there, the first part of the sentence tends to go away and the focus becomes the second part of the sentence. And in this case, it is, I'm not ready to meet your parents. So if we're making the swap, that's gonna sound like, I like you a lot and I'm not ready to meet your parents yet.
Not gonna lie, the way you said it the first time set me a little spiraling. When you replaced the but with and, I felt myself hearing both. You still like me, you're just not ready to meet my parents.
All right, so let's do another one. I like my new job, but I'm really struggling with it. So if we're making the swap, this sounds like I like my new job and I'm struggling with it.
When you said it the first way, I wanted to go into fix-it mode. I completely didn't hear that you also still liked your job. When you replaced but with and, I felt myself wanting to know more about both, what you were struggling with, but what you also liked.
So that was our first tip. Let's move on to communication tip number 2, which is using I statements instead of you statements.
This tool is especially helpful when sharing feelings with a partner. It lowers defensiveness and it increases empathy, especially when you're trying to share feelings. Let's look at this in action. You forgot to pick up the dog from the groomer today, and it made me so angry and so upset. Versus, I'm really hurt and I'm really angry that you forgot to pick up the dog from the groomer this morning.
Okay, so when you led with the I could definitely take it on a little bit easier. I could hear exactly what you were saying and how you were feeling, and I did not feel the need to defend myself, unlike the first sentence that you said when my defenses definitely went up.
Let's do one more. You were so out of line the way you talked to me at the party the other night versus I'm really hurt and sad by the way you spoke to me at the party the other night.
Okay, so I'm gonna be honest. That first sentence you said, I could feel it coming up in me to be like, I was out of line, but you. I immediately wanted to defend myself, which is the issue with starting with the you statements. You're focusing on the detail of what your partner is saying, and you wanna almost just prove them wrong instead of hearing how they feel. So when you started with the I statement, I could hear you're hurt, and that's what's really important for connected communication.
And that's what we're going for. Last but not least, communication tip number 3, eliminate universal statements. Universal statements are when we use words like always or never in combination with how we feel. This is problematic because we're basically telling the person that we're talking to that there's no point in them sharing how they feel, their opinions, their thoughts, because how we feel is absolute. It also takes away from the very feeling or emotion we're trying to share.
So let's give a real life example of this. Okay. I always do the dishes and you never help. Versus, I feel like I've been doing the dishes a lot lately and I'd really like some help with that.
When you kept the universal statement in the sentence, I found myself really shutting down. When you took it out of the sentence, I found myself thinking, does she do the dishes all the time? If that's true, I don't want you to feel that way. I'm like, oh, that sucks.
Thanks, Rach.
Stop, don't do
that. Okay, let's do another one. You never call me when you get home like you've said you would. Versus, I feel hurt when you don't call me when you get home, and I'd really appreciate it if you could make that effort.
When you kept the universal statement in the sentence, it felt really accusatory. When you took it out, I felt like this is an opportunity for both of us to have a conversation about both of our sides, and that felt a lot better.
And that's the goal. More conversations and communication about the stuff that actually matters versus disagreeing on the stuff that truly doesn't. So these are our 3 communication tips for you. Try it for a week, see what changes. We guarantee that these can make your adult relationships and adulting in general a lot easier.